Really, really good value for what you're getting. Anyway, let's get into it. So, you might not have heard of this brand KTC, or you already have. KTC stands for Key to Combat, so they are targeting gamers. All of their line is dedicated towards that. And I do want to say that this is a review sample. This was sent out to me from KTC. This is not a sponsored video. I did see Monitors Unboxed videos where he mentioned that they were trying to get him to sponsor a video, but he doesn't do paid sponsors. I do a bit of both. This one is not sponsored. They didn't even present me that option. So regardless, I don't have to use any marketing terms. I don't want to. I don't have to say anything nice about this product. Yeah, and I want you guys to have full transparency when it comes to this stuff. But anyway, let's get into it. So first I want to just talk about the unboxing and the setup. I've covered several monitors by now. They've all got it down to where it's really easy to set up. First of all, the packaging was very nice, very similar to what I would get when I'm unboxing a $1,000 monitor. So good job KTC when it comes to that. In terms of setup, super simple. It comes with all the cables you need, and it includes a stand and the monitor itself, and everything just snaps into the place. Barely any tools necessary. At this point, they all set up pretty similarly. What I do like, speaking of the stand, is that you can adjust the pan. You can also adjust the tilt, which is nice. But even better, you can actually adjust the height of this monitor, which is not something you always see at this price point. I did check out an Asus monitor that was more expensive than this, that was not height adjustable. And doing this feels really smooth and precise too. Really good job on the stand, and especially at such an entry-level price in terms of this monitor. Build quality though, this is where things might take a bit of a knock, but at this price point I can't knock it too much. Everything including the stand is made out of plastic, but it doesn't feel incredibly bad though. It just feels like a standard plastic. But again, at under $200, you shouldn't really be expecting that. In terms of the design, I love the off-white color. If you wanted black, I don't know if it's available in that, so that could be a detractor for you if you had an all-black setup, but I love this color. I like the design. I like the curves in the back of the monitor. I like the way the stand is designed too, though like I said, it does feel a bit cheap. And yeah, really nice design on this KTC monitor. And in terms of ports, again, this is a win. I've noticed that a lot of budget monitors include 2 display ports, while a lot of premium ones only include 1, which is really frustrating for me because I really want 2 display ports so I could connect both my laptop and my desktop at the same time without having to rely on HDMI. HDMI is fine, but I just like using DisplayPort. And if you did want HDMI, it supports 2 HDMI ports as well, also including a headphone out. It's good on the input side, but there's no USB ports if you wanted to connect like your keyboard and mouse to it and kind of use this as a USB dock. But again, at this price point, I think that's okay. And there are also speakers on this monitor, but they sound incredibly bad, so don't depend on that at all. It sounds worse than a cell phone. And to control this monitor, there is a little joystick at the back, and it does go up, down, left, and right. But it is a bit wobbly, so sometimes when you're pressing it, it ends up pressing to the left or to the right. It's very hard to press precisely. Let's get into the OSD a little bit. It's not bad, it's fairly basic. It has just about everything that you need. If you're gonna try to do any type of like deep, like professional style calibration, you probably won't be able to do that with this. You'll just have to do it on your computer itself. And I found that the navigation seems a little bit weird. To make a selection, you have to highlight what you want to change and then press right. Pressing the button actually exits the OSD. And just mentally, I've been having a hard time with that. But I mean, it's okay. I feel like if you're going to be using this monitor for like years, then the OSD will become second nature. So not terrible there, but not amazing either. Alright, so but this is a gaming monitor. What has it been like to game with? And not bad. There's 2 things I want to talk about. The first slight detriment I want to talk about is the input lag. There is some latency on this monitor compared to a lot of the other gaming monitors that I've used. It's not terrible. I was able to get by, and I played a few rounds of Overwatch, and I was still able to dominate at my class. But it was something that I did notice, especially after using some of the other gaming monitors that I checked out this year. So at $169, I'm thinking that's okay. If you were going to be playing more competitive style games and you were able to go up to $300, I did do a review on an Asus TUF monitor, which would be better suited for that. But like I said, only because I test so many gaming monitors, I was able to pick up on the input latency, and I still don't have a way to objectively measure input latency but I've been testing so many gaming laptops, so many monitors. It's something that I am hyper focused on and I can pick up on right away. I don't think a lot of people will unless you're testing as much devices as I am. So I am mentioning that, but I don't think that it is at the level to where it's a deal breaker. Also important to gaming is the response time. Despite what KTC is advertising, the response time isn't incredibly fast. It's not bad. And like I said, when I was playing Overwatch at the full 200 hertz, messing around with the different overdrive settings, I found that if it's off or in normal mode, it's pretty bad. There's a lot of ghosting. But if I ratchet up the overdrive to the 2 highest settings, then overshoot is introduced and you can definitely see it, and I found it to be a bit distracting. I use it at the mid-level overdrive and it was fine, but obviously I wasn't expecting anything close to OLED, but I have used IPS panels that did better in terms of the overdrive. So if you're an ultra competitive gamer, this probably will not be for you. You might need to spend a little bit more to get a monitor that would support a better response time and also a better input latency if you are a hyper competitive gamer. But if you're a single player gamer, this is a great screen to look at. I was really impressed with a lot of these more entry-level monitors I've been checking out this year. I would say like 5, maybe 6 years ago, a monitor of this caliber would have been like $600-700. I really like that this technology is coming down in price to where it'll fit a lot more people's budgets. So let's get into what makes the picture quality so good. First of all, the color gamut. You are of course getting 100% sRGB, 94% of DCI-P3, and 88% of Adobe RGB. I know I mentioned this before, but a panel that's able to get this high of a color gamut at under $200 was pretty much unheard of in the past. So really happy about that. And one thing I should mention too is this display does support HDR, but there's no type of local dimming. Each pixel is not able to self-illuminate, so you're not going to get those crazy contrasts and punchiness that HDR displays of OLED or mini LED or micro LED might be able to display, but there's no way you could get one of those at this price point. But despite that though, HDR still looked pretty punchy for what it is. Despite not having full array local dimming, wasn't bad. I still wouldn't call it true HDR though, but HDR is supported on this monitor. The gamma measured a perfect 2.2, which is nice, and the color accuracy was really good too. So this panel comes factory calibrated out of the factory and it does a very good job. The only thing is on my unit, the white balance was much more on the colder side. You want to see the white balance be closer to 6500. I honestly didn't really pick up on it too much until I did the measurements. But this isn't really the monitor I'll be using for creative work. I mean, you can use it. You might just need to adjust the white balance yourself. But overall, the colors and the gamut was pretty spot on without me having to do any tweaking at all. So that was awesome. And in terms of brightness, I measured 534 nits of brightness. Again, not something I would have been able to see even just a few years ago at even $400 or $500. So man, really nice and bright display. But here's where the monitor kind of loses some marks. And these are some marks that are important to me. The contrast ratio. That's the difference between the whitest parts of the screen and the blackest parts of the screen. The contrast ratio I'm measuring is only 1270 to 1. I'd like to see 1500 or higher. 1400 is acceptable. When you're under 1300, those blacks start to look a little bit gray, and especially if you're in a dark scene, if you're playing a lot of horror video games, that will become evident. And the black levels themselves are 0.42. I like to be under 0.30. Again, that just means that the blacks will look more gray than black. That could be a problem for you depending on the type of games you play. But also at the same time, I don't know how many other monitors could do better than this at under $200. The Asus TUF monitor that I checked out recently does better in just about every single aspect than this monitor does. So if you did have a little bit more room in your budget, I'll also leave that down below to check out. But if your budget is strictly at this $170 mark, then I know I'm nitpicking a lot, but that's because I review like $1,000 monitors, etc. But I try to use this monitor as much as I can exclusively for about like 2 weeks just to really get a feel for it. And I know I'm a bit spoiled because I check out so many other monitors, and especially more higher end ones. But like after like day 3 or 4, I just got used to this monitor and it just became just like a normal part of my gaming life, and I enjoyed every second of it. I mean, of course, when the 2 weeks were over and I went back to my 45-inch OLED gaming monitor, I noticed a difference instantly. But that period of time when I was reviewing it, I was able to get fully immersed in my games, and I was able to become very competitive when playing online too. Despite the issues that I'm bringing up here, at the end of the day, if this is your only monitor, you're still gonna have a great time with it. And especially at this price point, man, like you can buy 2 of these monitors and still be below the price range of what an OLED monitor would cost. So I think that's where this monitor really shines. And I don't think KTC is a budget brand. They have monitors that go up in price, and they've had OLED monitors in the past too. This particular model is just aimed at those who don't want to spend too much on monitors, and I see that all the time. A lot of people on Reddit would spend a lot of money on their desktop or a lot of money on their laptop, and then they'll buy a gaming keyboard, maybe a gaming headset, and then before they realize it, they don't have much room left for the monitor. And if that ended up being you, this will be the perfect companion for you, and I don't even think you're going to get too much FOMO out of it. So really like this monitor. It's not perfect. I've outlined some of the issues that I've had with it, but also I can't nitpick too much because at $170, and like I said, this technology wasn't possible at anything under $400 or $500 in the past before. So I know I keep on repeating myself, but I really want to drive that home that I like where technology is going towards becoming more accessible. Not only just being accessible for just people who don't want to spend $1,000 on a monitor. Now you can get something really good at a much lower price point. So yeah, I don't know where to take this video from here. If you have any questions, leave it down below. If you like this video, like it. And if you want to see more, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.